Hey, what's up guys, it's Buka here, the Scrub Investor. So, today I'm with Phil. Phil, this is gonna be one of those times where, you ever have a moment where things change? This is it. This is our first video. We've been talking about this video now.
For a year.
I'd say probably even greater than a year,
Dude,
but we're doing it.
We're doing it now.
We're doing it now. And I think the reason why we're doing it now is we're at that point where things make more sense. And it's not like the prior reasons we never did it was, we would talk about it and we had other things going. We were both building an anesthesia business. So we're at that point now where we have more free time. We've built it up to a point where the things make sense. So Phil and I, some background information, Phil and I have known each other for 8 years. And I think it's important for you guys to understand the backstory behind our friendship, and because it makes more sense as to why it developed to the way it did, and ultimately makes sense to why we are the way we are as friends. So Phil, I'll let you tell the story about our first time meeting each other.
So I just finished my orientation and I'm gonna go check out the unit. So I hop in the elevator and there he is. There's Buka standing right there, and he's got this badge on it and it says CVICU. Yeah, that's the unit I'm gonna be working on. And I moved from Austin to Houston to go there. It was like one of the top ranked intensive care units and hospitals in the country. And I wanted the best training prior to going to anesthesia school, and that's why I went there. Anyways, I heard a lot about this unit. It's gonna be very hard. There's gonna be a huge learning curve. And so I asked this guy, I was like, well, it shows that on his badge, he was like, an orientation as well. I was like, well, how is it? And he smirks at me and he says, "You'll see," and he walks away. And I'm like, dude, this guy is an asshole. Yeah. And that's how our friendship started. And the reason I'm good friends with Buka, looking back 8 years ago, I'm so different than I was. I wasn't really thinking about money, investing. I was driven to go to anesthesia school, but other than that, I never thought about like multiple streams of income and investing, buying property. And so as we grew, we both went to school, different schools, but during the same time, we would always chat, what did you learn this week? How's clinicals? Oh man, you're doing epidurals now. How is that? There was back and forth until this point where we have our profession down, but now we want to, start investing. And so now we're learning together how to invest. And he does different deals than I do. And that's what I love about this relationship. I do Airbnbs. He does hard money lending. He does new startups. He'll do seed money for those. And so it's nice. And there's some overlap because him and I, this past March, we were in a deal. And in fact,
we can't give him everything.
Oh, okay.
We got to talk, because that that on its own deserves its own episode where we actually kind of break down that deal, because
there's a lot to it.
That was $1 million deal that we let walk, but it was important why we let it walk. And I mean, kind of looking back at it now, it's easy. It's always easier to say, oh well, I mean, that deal makes sense. Yeah, it did, but we were also facing one of the craziest pandemics that we'd ever seen. So of course, it's easier. Hindsight is 20/20. But if we looked at that deal, it wasn't that the numbers didn't make sense. The numbers made sense, but you know what? We'll create that video for you guys, and we'll kind of share with you guys the $1 million deal that we never did. And we'll kind of tell you guys how it all turns out.
One of the reasons I love partnering with Buka is because he really is a numbers guy. He analyzes the deal and he makes sure the numbers make sense, and it doesn't phase him emotionally. Even if the deal doesn't make sense and the numbers are crap, it's not like it pushes him one way or the other. He's like a rock. And you don't want someone like you, and I think that we have a nice balance between us two.
If I had to pick the one thing that I like the most about Phil is he's persistent. He's consistent. Persistent and consistent. How about that? So I remember when we first got out of school, once we got out of anesthesia school, we all kind of took our own paths. Whereas I had other things that I was chasing, but Phil had the idea of running Airbnbs, and he was consistent about it. Like, you made it happen. And not only did you do it once, you did it twice. And I mean, it's been crazy to me to see you run that business and do so well in it, because, and that was what made us ultimately want to get the other deal done. the goal, I think ultimately our goal is to create an ecosystem of individuals who not only who aren't all the same, but share the same lifestyle choices and wanting to be financially smart, but yet do it in their own unique way. And I think that's why, Phil, you and I kind of make sense, because yet we're very similar. Like, we like the same stuff. We want financial independence. We like running our own business. We like working for ourselves, but yet we still have different ways of doing it.
Hope you guys enjoyed our first video. I want you to like and please subscribe to our channel. We're trying to grow this thing, and look out for our next video, because we're going to dive deep into how we got into that $1 million deal and how we let it go.